What is the link between shame and inner critic, if they are linked or not? And also, what about healthy guilt?
Toxic shame and the inner critic can be linked because the inner critic can control us through shame. Shame is like a controlling mechanism.
From a trauma-informed perspective, is the inner critic just that, the negative talk? Or what is its function, let's say like this?
Sometimes people talk about themselves in a very harsh way because they learned how to motivate themselves that way. When we talk about survival mechanisms like shame, like inner critic, we have to acknowledge the fact that they are there to maintain a balance in our psyche.
How I know if I'm using shame to move forward?
If I'm shaming myself into having results, this means for me that I keep comparing myself to other people, as you said it.
Welcome to the Limitless Life Podcast. This podcast is a recalibration. We will talk about strategy, energetic leadership, and also we will also dive deep into nervous system rewiring. I created this podcast not just as content. It is meant to shift your identity while you are watching it. So each episode will go deep into a subject. And today I'm really excited because this episode will go deep into the psychic of the high-achieving woman. And we will talk about shame, about inner critic. We will talk about devaluing yourself and what means to be really worthy, and how to love yourself enough to be worthy indeed. And for this podcast, I have a very special guest. And I'm so excited for this conversation that we will have today. And I invited here Livia Caciuloiu. She's a psychotherapist for over 14 years. She's licensed as psychotherapist, and she's not only herself a psychotherapist, but she's supervising internationally other psychotherapists in everything that is linked to identity-informed trauma psychotherapy. So we have someone here who is like a genius in all of this. So I'm like super excited to know about it for myself and for all the women who are watching this podcast. She's also the creator of a transformational program where you can go, each one of you, and this program is online. It's called Worthy, and it takes women from shame and from devaluing themselves into deep self-trust and into that space, I would say, where you discover your innate worth. So welcome, Livia. I'm happy you are here with us, and I cannot wait for today's episode.
Thank you, Adina, so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure.
Good. So we will have deep conversations today, about inner critic, about shame. Wow, this also brings something inside of me, because I think every woman, when she hears shame, inner critic, self-criticism, these are words that bring something inside of us. And from my work with women who are high-level women and who are really amazing performers, who are winners, I observe very interesting that their self-critic and their inner critic, I would say, is even harsher than in the woman who maybe didn't yet achieve big things. Is this true, Livia? And why this happens? Why this inner critic is even harsher when you have success?
It's a very good question. And first of all, it's important to realize that we as women were born and raised in a culture of shame. So it doesn't matter who we are as adults, but in childhood, we all grew up in contact with the same ideas. In my field, we don't generalize, but we look at facts, at science-based facts, at research, and we also look at the clinical work. And both talk about the same pattern. When we talk about high achievement, this is always linked to this self-criticism, a very harsh self-criticism, and perfectionism. So This is because the high performer always has his or her amygdala hyperactivated. What does it mean? In the job, it looks very well. High performer with an hyperactivated amygdala is always seeing risks, knows how to evaluate things, has a very high sensitivity for social cues, knows when to take a leap of faith, when to restrain. So is very self-aware and very aware of the environment. This helps professionally.
Of course, it helps a lot.
It helps a lot. In the same time, internally, this means always high levels of cortisol. This means that the person is very self-aware and pushes herself a lot more than the average person, I would say. So it's a lot of self-pressure, depreciating, like when something doesn't works as planned, she keeps pushing herself even more. And if I look at my clinical work, I have never worked with a high performer that has not that is not in contact with this very harsh inner critic, because this person always asks so much from her and takes a lot of responsibility. She maybe takes a lot more responsibility than an average person, because is very aware about her quality of work. So there are all these tendencies that are explained, by science. And it is the reality. We have to be aware of that.
So in a way, what you are saying, it's a bit new for me, and it's very interesting what you shared with us now. In a way, what you are saying is that it's like you press a button and something that helps you so much as a high-achieving woman, like seeing things very quickly, being always alert, observing things that maybe other people would not observe so quickly, and being able to come with solutions. This is something that keeps you always alert and, in a way, produces results. And on the other side, the same button that is pressed produces this inner critic, this high awareness, even about yourself. Like you have very high standards, sometimes too high, about yourself in the same time. So it's like turns against you in a way, like self-violence, I would say. It's so good in outside, and it's a bit self-violent when it comes to us.
Yeah.
Wow. So in a way, this inner critic, as far as you say, because for me, and I think for many women, when they think about inner critic, they think about the negative self-talk, what is the inner critic? Like, the fact that I'm always talking negatively about myself, like I'm judging myself internally, something is saying, oh, you could have done better this, you should have stayed with your back straight, you didn't arrange well the context of the discussion, everything, like negative talk that keeps talking, negative talk that keeps talking. From a trauma-informed perspective, is the inner critic just that, the negative talk? Or what is its function, let's say like this?
From a trauma perspective, the inner critic is a self-defense mechanism. So we talk about, survival strategies, coping strategies. So if we only look at the trauma effects, we can see this inner critic. But I would prefer, I'm a very pragmatic psychotherapist, so I would like to talk about this inner critic from the whole perspective of it. So because sometimes people talk about themselves in a very harsh way because they learned how to motivate themselves that way. So maybe they model someone in their childhood, and they learn that they can, have better results if they push themselves. So when they become aware in therapy or in other contexts that they are being harsh on themselves, they realize that, they say, oh, this is not fair that I'm doing this to myself, so I have to change this. They manage to change it. So they become aware and they not instantly, but very easily change it. So this, in this case, the inner critic is not a self-defense mechanism. It's more like a learned pattern.
A learned pattern, yeah.
In the case of a trauma effect,
Yeah.
It's impossible to change by yourself, because the inner critic is a physiological response, is an activation of the nervous system, is a result of the hypervigilant amygdala, and it's like the whole body is trying to protect you from something that could harm you. Because this self-talk, as we say it, if we think about it, we can always sense it in our body. When we start talking about ourselves in a bad way, we can feel our palms getting sweaty, our chest getting tight, and it's never only self-talk. In a way, if I like to work with this metaphor with my clients. Is like, we can imagine we have this self-critic outside of us, and it's like someone is talking to us in a certain way, is motivating us in a certain way with a very harsh attitude. What is this? What is this causing in our body? High levels of cortisol, of course. When we have someone who's being nasty to us, we get angry, we get sad, we want to react, but if we can't, we will have to work harder. We become afraid of that person, and is exactly the same dynamic we have inside of us. Because people say, when I talk to them, it's like, I'm afraid to look inside myself. I'm afraid of what I might find in there. Because their psyche knows that there is an aggressive part, like you said it. It's like self-aggression, and it's they're afraid to go and regulate themselves, start to work with that part of themselves, because it's like a whole perpetrator attitude that we have internalized and we are using towards ourselves to protect the outside peace. To make ourselves be better in a way. Of course, we are not better. We're just unhappier and productive. So it's if we want to look and work with this inner critic and regulate this part of us, we have to look at our physiology, at our activated nervous system, and give ourselves time to really understand why that part of us is there, why is still there, what in our environment still maintains this dynamic, and step by step we can change it.
Let's take, now it comes to my mind an example of one of my clients, and I would love your perspective. It just came now to my mind, and I think it fits the example that you gave. Like, she became a speaker, like, let's say national first of all, and then international, and she was invited to the biggest, for her, the biggest conference at that time for around 500 women from all over the world in the same industry that she was performing. So they could not wait to meet her, because she was like truly a performer, and she knew that. And she was so excited. She went on the stage, she delivered the speech. The whole room was like amazed, like the speech was amazing. And she delivered it in a beautiful, amazing way with all kind of, so she was not too emotional. She was really doing her thing perfectly, I would say, from the outside. She finished the speech, everything perfect. But when she went down from the stage, in the backstage, like the people in the room did not know this, but we had to work it together in our coaching. She was like very low, like she started to cry. She was criticizing herself internally so much, and everyone in the backstage realized that something is really off with her after she went from the stage, and were trying to to ask, something happened on the stage when we didn't see, because everything went perfect. What happened? But in fact, nothing happened on the stage or in the room. The room received her really well, but something happened internally with her, and probably a trauma was activated, right? Or something happened. in that moment? Why the reaction afterwards was so like down, and afterwards she sabotaged all her business. Like 1 month she could not perform anymore, she could not take clients, she lost clients, so everything went down after. How you would say it, like from exterior, like it's just a story, but a story like a real story, but how you would see it from this perspective? For sure it was inner critic, for sure something happened there.
Okay, so I see many options.
Yeah.
If she had this very harsh inner critic, the inner critic doesn't look at the present reality. I'll say it like that. The inner critic, if we can notice our inner critic, if we have one, we can see that it always says the same thing about everything. You are not good enough. With that. It doesn't matter. You're not good enough. And if that was activated in that moment, and this is option A as I see it in that situation, it didn't matter how well she was actually on stage, because for her, for our nervous system, for our brain, is enough to have one trigger in the environment, maybe someone looking at her in a harsh way in the audience, and it's enough to maybe remind her of a perpetrator of I don't know, from her past.
Yeah, there are so many possibilities, in fact, no?
Yes. So maybe she got triggered, and instantly this inner voice was very loud, like you're not good enough, you didn't manage to do or to say, or you forgot X thing to say. So is this option, and in this case, maybe we feel like children. We might feel like children instantly, like I'm not good enough, I have to hide, no one wants me, I'm not going on stage again, I'm
like
such
a
a
fraud.
mess, I'm
She
like
felt
a
like a
fraud.
fraud, she
Exactly.
said.
Yeah. So this is option A. Option 2 is B is for me about fear, not fear of success, but the impact of success
On the nervous system.
on our nervous system. Yes.
Let's talk about that. What impact can like everyone wants success. Like you know, you work so much for it. You want to be on the stage. You work so much to become like, I don't know, a millionaire. You work so much to get exposed, to come on television and on a big show. Let's say you have, and then when you reach that, what is the impact of success on our nervous system? Sometimes in some situations.
In some situations, what happens is I'm referring right now to high performers.
Yeah, sure.
So I include myself.
Yeah.
We are very used to working hard.
Yeah.
We are very used to putting the effort. We can motivate ourselves very well. We can take risks. We can do a lot.
Yeah.
We are very good at this part. But when we have to, when we have results and people come to us and praise us and want us in front of an audience, like this woman had her situation. So when we are invited to step out and get visible, we are challenged to deal with another type of situation. We don't know how to deal with this kind of situation. We only know how to deal with work.
Yeah.
That's very familiar and it's very comfortable. When we have to deal with people watching us, people judging us, because everyone has opinions.
Yeah.
When we have to deal with, I don't know, wearing our hair in a certain way and acting like someone else.
Yeah. And having all the eyes on you in a way. Yeah.
Then our amygdala is still hyperactivated because we are
It's
performers.
It's okay.
Yes.
Why doesn't it work the same?
But in here, we have extra cortisol, we have extra stress. Yeah. So what can happen for our nervous system is to become very easily overwhelmed. So if we are performers still hyperactivated, hypervigilant, and we get in situation that that bring extra stress, and we don't know how to deal with non-familiar, and we don't know how to work with the feelings, the emotions, our bodily sensations inside. We have. Yeah. We can get very easily overwhelmed in these situations, and this is why we don't perform when we are visible. Some of us.
Yeah.
We can deal with work, we can have results, but if we have to talk about them, a lot of people get stuck. They get blank. They don't remember words.
Like in the school exams, no? You know everything. This is what was happening to me. I knew everything, and when I could write it down, but if someone asked me to talk it, I could not. Like everything went like blank. Yeah. So it's the same mechanism in a way, in a different age.
Yes, and it is because maybe we didn't have enough time or opportunity to learn how to work with our emotions and to work with our body and self-regulate.
During the high success.
Yes, and because few children have the opportunity to learn this skill to self-regulate.
Yeah.
We have to have adults that know how to self-regulate around them.
Yeah, exactly. So that they can learn it, and then we can get to our adult life, and we still don't know. So we have to learn it in a way, to learn how to regulate in these kind of situations. Yeah. Wow. So there are many possibilities, but what is obvious in these situations with the inner critic is that it becomes in a way uncontrollable. Like even if you are so good in what you do, and you are like high achievers, usually are. Women who are high achievers are in love with control. Like they want to control everything, and they have the feeling that many times they can control everything because of their success. But when it comes with this inner critic and the reactions you can have when there is a lot of pressure, much more pressure than you are used to carry, somehow the things can happen that you don't even explain yourself what happened. I remember even in my case, now that it was not my story, so it was a client story, but now I remember talking with you. I remember in my first business when I reached the biggest success that I dreamt from the moment that I started the business. There was like a milestone that it was like a dream. No, I don't know if I will reach it, but this is like the dream, the dream. And I remember myself and I have photos and videos from that moment when I was recognized on an international stage, just 5 minutes, but for the achievement of that. And I imagined myself so different, like how I will enter the stage and how I will be like super proud of me and happy. And when I enter the stage, when I watch those pictures, now that after this podcast, I think I will go back and look at it. It was my first, meeting with high success on a stage, not working, as you said. And now I realized that I was like, what? I judged myself so much after that moment because I went on the stage and I was so emotional and I cried. Like everybody supposed that I'm crying of happiness, but in fact, for me it was an overwhelm. Like I couldn't be like I supposed to, like happy going on the stage and yes I did it. Yes I did it. No, I went on the stage. I was all crying, all emotional. I had to share 5 minutes about myself. I was like, I talked, but and I could be a speaker like for 1 hour, but in that moment, everything stopped. And it's the same, I think. In that moment, everything stopped. Like I couldn't, it was nothing as I imagined, in fact. Yeah. This inner critic. We will talk more about inner critic, but now maybe I will take you from one subject to the other, or maybe they are linked. You can tell me if they are linked or not. But what about the word of my childhood is shame. Like I was grown up, especially by my grandmother, who was always telling me, take care not to be ashamed for the village. Don't do this. If you do this, all the village will know. Since I was a child, like if you go to school and you don't you are not the best there, everybody will know, and this is a shame. If you dress inadequately with the skirt that is too short, it's a shame. If you do whatever, it's a shame. This word was so much in my childhood, and at some point I had to work like for some years with a psychotherapist on this thing of shame. And I know that many women realize they have this, let's say, toxic shame inside of them, let's say like this. And I wanted to ask you, what is like toxic shame? What is the link between shame and inner critic, if they are linked or not? And also, what about healthy guilt? Because I think sometimes when you look back to something that you have done, to a behavior that you have done, and you can look there, and then you can feel like, yes, I could have like done better in that situation, and you feel that guilt that can be in a way healthy, because you say, okay, from now on I will not ever proceed like this. I can proceed in a much better way than this way that I proceeded at that time.
Of course, toxic shame and the inner critic can be linked, because the inner critic can control us through shame. Shame is like a controlling mechanism.
Okay.
As you mentioned in your story, is like, I make you feel shame about it so you can listen to me. So we can also control ourselves by shaming ourselves. But they can be linked. I wouldn't say it's always shame where we have the inner critic. But I love the fact that you mentioned healthy shame, and I would start with that, because healthy shame is behavioral based. We always look at something we have done wrong. It's normal and is healthy to feel shame about it.
Because if you feel that shame, you can change.
You can
I think
change.
if a human being doesn't feel shame in a situation where there is like, you really behaved like not appropriate, like, I don't know, you used inappropriate words when you talk to a woman, let's say. And if you are a man and you did this, if you feel shame in that moment, like healthy shame, I mean, you can say, okay, this is the last time I do like this. I can not only just say sorry, but I can behave differently next time. So this is healthy shame, yeah?
Yeah, it's healthy shame.
Okay.
We can go back in the situation, apologize, make a reparative gesture, and the relationship can move forward. In toxic shame is about identity. In toxic shame, we say, I am wrong. I am wrong for doing this. So I am wrong, so of course I did this. This is a mistake because because I'm like this. In healthy shame, we say, I did this wrong and I can fix it. Toxic shame is about identity, is about how we learn, what we learned about ourselves during childhood. And we keep that, it's like we keep that element in our personality. People don't even realize that they put themselves down most of the time through shame, through toxic shame. And another thing about toxic shame is that it doesn't go away. If we make a mistake and we are sorry, and again, we pass that moment, we don't feel ashamed anymore. We just remember we did something wrong in the past, but the feeling is gone. With toxic shame, we feel bad forever. Like, I cannot go back in that relationship and apologize because I feel that the person will never forgive me, and I am a shameful human being. So
it's not anymore about behavior. It's like, no. I am like a human being. You say identity level already.
Yes.
So it's like penetrating our being in a way. So I am wrong in a way.
I am wrong. And this is one of the affirmations or beliefs we tend to have after traumatic events. There are a few types of understandings about ourselves that we can have after one traumatic event or after more events. That are pressuring and changing our personality. And we can learn about ourselves that we are bad, we are wrong, we are persons to be ashamed of, we are not enough, as you mentioned earlier, or we are constantly in danger and we have to work and protect ourselves all the time. So it's a very core belief that we can have about ourselves.
Wow. Okay, and for example, let's say if someone is watching us now and she realizes, okay, I think I if I look back one word comes to me now when I'm listening to you, like regret, not like, let's say, healthy guilt, but when you look back in a situation in your life, you look back and say, okay, it's like, yeah, I've done this thing and I apologized and I'm not that person. Now I behave totally different and I can do much better than that. It was just a moment when I really behaved not okay, or my actions were not adequate. But when regret comes and you look back and you start to regret, and not only regret that it happened at that time, but you, in a way, would like to be different, like to change that situation, which is not possible to change because it was in the past. So how can someone work with this toxic shame?
We can always work with what we have in our bodies and what we feel. So of course we cannot go back in time and change the past. What we can do is change the effects of the past we live right now, in our body, in our mind, in our feelings. So if we want to work with toxic shame, Stephen Porges was saying, for example, that we have to start from our body, from working with our body, because toxic shame has a very clear impact in our physiology, in the way we are keeping our body.
Can you share more about it?
Body. Sure. So there are some signs that we carry toxic shame. One of them is that when we feel activated in this toxic shame, we have a very it feels like fear, but it's not fear. It's like our stomach is compressing itself. We feel our shoulders going down, and it's very hard to keep our chin up because we want to avoid eye contact.
We want to hide in a way.
So these three elements, he says, are definitory for toxic shame. And the first thing we must do, because it's like our nervous system gets into isolation. It's like, I don't want you to see me anymore. So what we must do is help our brain realize that we are in a safe environment. And how we do that? We initiate action. We move. So the first thing we have to do is try to maybe look up, search, look on the environment, check that we are safe. Maybe find a person we trust, look her in the eye, see that she's okay with us, and step by step maybe
take the
shoulders back. And with no pressure, just to initiate one move at a time. And in reality, what changes is that the nervous system starts to realize that it is safe here. People are not punishing us, are not judging us, and we get out of this toxic shame and get back. It's a physiological intervention, but of course this is like dealing with symptoms. For
just
me,
on the surface.
Yes, I would like to live in a world where people don't feel this toxic shame anymore.
Of course.
So if we want that, we will have to, it's more like a trauma work, and we have to go back and reprocess the past experiences that still have an impact on us. And it is possible.
Reprocess and in a way give it a different meaning, I suppose, in our psyche.
Yes, but it's not only about cognitive meaning, because with some experiences we don't even have to make a cognitive meaning out of. We just have to learn how to stay in contact with the residual feelings, to know how to work with the body, and maybe we can realize that what happened to us was unfair and put it into words. But words are not always necessary in every type of trauma therapy.
Okay, good. Wow, so many questions comes after this. I have like 2 or 3 extra questions that are coming to me. And I wonder how you see that, because you are a psychotherapist, so you work deep with people, not on the surface, yeah? But we are human beings, and women especially, we love to talk about different things, and everybody has done some courses, some spiritual work, something, and then we go into different conversations, and we express different opinions on the subject all the time. Yeah. So now when you are talking, there were two things that came to me. One is, and I will just take out all both questions out. One question is this shame also transgenerational? Can be something that even is like in a way transmitted, not necessarily that you had some experience and because of that you have your own like traumatic events. Can it be also transgenerational just because your grandmother passed through some situation, to the way she grew up your mother, and then you, and so on, you feel these things? Or same time, the next question that comes, and I will remind you, maybe you will answer both. I look in the future, like if you have this toxic shame inside, so this is from the past, but when I look into the future, if you have this toxic shame inside, there comes this, let's say, personal development world. They said, oh, if you feel toxic shame inside, then you will attract more and more events that will make you feel shame. So let's go with the first one, with the past, if it can be transgenerational, and then we go to the second question. I will remind you about it.
Yeah. Yes, we can talk about transgenerational passing, and in this case, we can, because we can learn some behavior from our mothers, our grandmothers, and this is actually transgenerational trauma passing through a generational to another, because what we learn from our mothers, grandmothers, and so on, and fathers, of course, is their survival strategies. Our parents are doing their best, actually,
of course. And
sometimes they teach us things that help them survive. And what comes in my mind now is, you have to be quiet and you have to be good. You don't have to talk with other people what's going on in the family, for example.
Yeah.
You have to be ashamed if you're not a good girl. All these rules were actually keeping order and protecting families
at that time.
Yeah. And we were punished, for example, if we spoke up or, I don't know, make inappropriate jokes.
Yeah.
Because that meant in that time that we would attract danger in our family.
Yeah.
So we learned punishment and we learned shame, to be ashamed.
Yeah.
We learned this inner critic started because we had to learn to adapt in a toxic society and culture. So this is transgenerational trauma passing from one person to another, because we learn the same
behaviors in a way,
mechanisms,
so
protection
like,
mechanisms,
like survival mechanisms that just pass through the generations.
Yes. And it's the same thing when we are passing healthy mechanisms. It's the same thing. Children learn from us how to deal in a healthy way, so they can pass that forward.
So if we go into a process and we heal this toxic shame, then this will help also the future generations to deal with the shame in a different way. Beautiful. And what about the future? If you are dealing with this toxic shame and you are not healing it, like you are not in a process of healing it, does life bring you more of the same situation or different situations so that you can feel it and uncover it? Let's say like this, like because somehow it is covered and you don't look there. So with every situation that comes bigger and bigger, at some point you have to just say, okay, let's look here, because there is something here that comes over and over again.
That would be a happy situation when we decide to look what's going on with us. But I can answer from an individual perspective, because I don't know about karma.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that when we are build up to with these triggers, like to pay attention in the society about what can put us in a wrong situation, like make us feel shame.
Yeah.
So if we feel toxic shame and we go in different kind of environments, then our triggers will react. And if I have many triggers about why I should be ashamed of myself, I will get into almost every single environment and find something to be ashamed of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, if I've learned in my childhood that I should be ashamed about my looks, my way of talking, my ideas, I can go in a very welcoming school and feel ashamed because I will have triggers there. People will watch me. People will ask me how I think about things. I will get triggers on the street because people will watch me and I will think that they judge me and I'm not okay.
Uh-huh.
So I don't think that
so in
we
fact,
attract.
it's like it becomes like a filter. You see everything through the shame filter in a way.
Yes.
In the same situation, someone else would be like, this happened, nothing.
Yeah.
It's good in school. But the same situation for another kid can be like, oh my God, what is happening there?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go in different places with our triggers. And it's not about the places, it's about what happens in us.
It's like that saying, no, beauty is in the eyes of the seer. Is the same here. Like what we see, the reality we see is perceived through a filter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And I have to ask you this question because I remember in one of my coaching calls in Limitless Queen, I had at some point someone who had success and already achieved much more than most women would even dream of. And she shared that she feels very ashamed with money.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say about this subject, shame and money, when you have success? Not when you don't have it, but when you have success, when you go to reach milestones that others would not even imagine, when you have money, but it's never enough. If you are ashamed, it's never enough anyway. You don't feel like it's enough. And you feel huge shame around money.
Around having money.
Around having money.
I would be very curious to know the message of this shame. Mm-hmm. I mean, what does it say? I feel shame for being how? What does having money mean to me? Because it's in my experience is never about money.
Yeah.
It's about what we learned that we can do with them.
Yeah.
About what we learn about status.
Yeah.
And maybe about women with money. How is a woman who has money? So maybe it's like stepping into an identity that is not very comfortable, or was not very comfortable for our origin family.
Our original family, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what what she was sharing. That she's the first in her generations who has so much money,
yeah,
and she feels very ashamed of it.
I had the experience of working with women and men who found themselves in certain situations where they didn't want money because their families lost a lot of money or properties because of bad people with money. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to have money because I don't want to become a perpetrator. This was somehow in their subconscious very, very present. And they wanted to be safe and happy and with no money or with enough to live because they were afraid of becoming bad people.
Yeah. So in fact, it's not just the money in itself, what you associate with those money that can trigger like a lot of shame inside of you because you have that money. Yeah, it's like this shame thing is like a very sneaky in a way. It gets somewhere and it's very sneaky. Anyway, I've always seen shame like this. I worked at some point with someone and she asked me to I remember, I will never forget, she asked me to describe how I would see shame. And, I was seeing shame like a bunch of fat that is like moving and like with a shape that is not very nice shape, like moving and creating some disgust. Like it was creating disgust inside of me, And I know she told me that, and it really created disgust. And I know she told me at that point that it's important to accept that shame and not be disgusted by it. Like I felt disgusted by that shame, in fact. What would you say about that? Like when we want to heal shame or things that parts of us that are not so nice, like it's not like something nice, we should fight with it, resist it, we should let it go, take it out of our body, or sometimes even from our body, because they can even leave some prints on our body, or how we deal with it.
If we talk about toxic shame and we see it as a survival mechanism, of course, we should have an evaluation so that we know what we're talking about individually. When we talk about survival mechanisms like shame, like inner critic, we have to acknowledge the fact that they are there to maintain a balance in our psyche. So it's like we have a house, we have a part of the house with the inner critic, with toxic shame, and if we take those parts out, the house will probably collapse. So we cannot fight with ourselves. These are parts of us. But we can, I like this, phrasing, like we have to make friends with. No, you don't have to make friends with toxic shame. No, it's a survival mechanism.
Yeah,
it helps.
Yeah.
What we need to do is maybe build some other areas in the house so we can protect the house from not falling, and then start working with the rooms these walls are protecting. Let's say it that way. Because these structures actually protect us from pain, from rejection. We felt very rejected maybe, and we were criticized and we were hurt, and we learned to talk to ourselves that way just to survive in a very unhealthy environment, or we learned how to be ashamed of ourselves so we can be in a certain way, so we can protect ourselves from being isolated socially. So we need to get close very easily and delicate to these parts and understand what they hide, because and then start working with this very old feeling. After we work with these feelings, they will go away. They are not longer necessary for us. But it's organic. It's like a very organical transformation. We don't have to push ourselves into not feeling ashamed or not thinking critically about ourselves.
Okay, so it's like an organic process. It goes on its own.
Yeah.
But when we look at coming back to the high achieving woman, the woman who builds a business, when she has this internal dialogue where she self-corrects continuously, self-attacks continuously, how that feels in the body, or what does this do to a woman's body?
First of all, she is raising her levels of cortisol. And sometimes if she is very harsh on herself,
or even self-monitoring, always aware, this awareness that sometimes is like quality, you can see it as a quality. I'm always self-aware, but in fact you're always on alert.
Yes, exactly. So you are hypervigilant, and that means that it's very hard to rest. So in time, we know that high levels of cortisol affect our bodies, and maybe she will have migraines, maybe she will have gut problems,
or maybe skin
problems. Yes, and I'm saying this because I know it touches high performers. it will get harder and harder to take right decisions. Because if we are alert all the time, we will get tired, and our mind gets blurry. It's normal. So we can do it like this until a certain point. After that, it's inevitable. Maybe we can take faster decisions, but not better decisions from a point on. So if we keep monitoring ourselves and pushing ourselves, we are actually maintaining a high alert nervous system, and that's not healthy.
It's always on.
It's always on. Yes.
Okay. And what would you suggest to that woman that is like this? So many women are like this. It's like, I think every high achiever is like this, at least in some stages of her life. Because she's fearful to stop this mechanism, because all these mechanisms produce success in a way. Yes. She thinks.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and she's right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we need to. I would suggest maybe to be aware of the moments she is pushing herself more than her body can manage. Because I would again start with with regulating the body, taking care of the body. Maybe is the easiest thing to do. Maybe it's very hard to work with how we talk to ourselves and how we feel about ourselves, but it's easier to take small breaks during the day, drink more water, basic
Starting
things.
with the body, like.
Yes, basic things.
Mm-hmm. But for a woman that is a high achiever and very critical of herself, it's very hard to take breaks.
Yes.
It's sometimes I think it's very hard to start even with the body. But what about mindset? Because, the high achieving woman usually is so good in mindset. Like everything passes through mindset, and she did so many things because of the mindset. And and it's something that it's something to be praised in my view, because a high achieving woman has a different mindset, and a successful person in general has a different mindset, which is an asset. But on the other way, can you deal and dissolve shame and inner critic through mindset?
If, as I was saying in the beginning, is a problem of learned mindset, that you have to motivate yourself and push yourself, and you realize that it hurts you and you want to change it. So you can change it through a different mindset. You can change it. But if we talk about a trauma response that causes this inner criticism and toxic shame, then we need extra help, because it's like mindset can take us only this far. It helps us work with our discipline, with our at a cognitive level. But if we want to work with the way we feel in our body, with automatic thoughts, then we need to work with our brains. And the problem is that when we talk about inner critic and triggers and toxic shame, we talk about the frontal cortex signing out. We have no control on this toxic talking to ourselves. We have no control over the triggers and how we feel activated. Like in your example, we have no control about feeling useless when we are on stage, like that client of yours who was a high achiever, and she had no control maybe regarding her thoughts and how she felt. It was awful. And this is because we can work on a cognitive level until the point that we get triggered. When we get triggered, the prefrontal cortex is signing out, and we are dealing with amygdala, hippocampus, and all these parts of the brain that actually help us survive, because they identify that we have to act in a certain way to protect ourselves, and all this good enough, not good enough talk begins in ourselves.
So in a healing process, of course, we cannot in a podcast go into the healing process and explain me how you are working. But in a healing process that is deep and not surface level, I mean, in this kind of situations, you go and see the trigger that brings this situations where you are not anymore in control. Let's say it in a simple way, and then you shift the way you will react in this kind of situations. How you shift it?
It's a
if you can explain in a simple way, of course, not like the whole process.
It's a physiological process, and it is done through a psychotherapeutical process. Yes, and this can take different forms. It depends on the methods we are working with. But in psychotherapy, this is why we don't only talk about it. Because when we work with the parts of the brain that are very emotional, then there we don't access, it's more like learn how to stay with the feelings, learn how to contain the feelings, learn how to work with the body and the feelings and understand what is happening to you. It's very hard to do this by ourselves, because we need constantly someone else from outside to keep us present, because if it's not someone in there, we get very easily distracted by feelings and go into feeling again like children. And this is why we need an outsider, so to say. And I have to mention that in working with toxic shame and inner critic, it's very important to have people around us, healthy people around us that can give us some corrective experiences, that can see us being vulnerable and answer to us in a certain way and support us in a very healthy way. And this is how our brain learns that I can be vulnerable with you and you will do nothing wrong and you will not judge me and you will be here and encourage me. And everything can be like this also, not only with shame and bad things happening. So having people with us in the process is extremely, extremely important and encourage us to get healthy easier.
Yeah. Can we have the, let's say, the feeling that we solved, like, especially the high-achieving woman who wants to solve things, like, like, let's say you are very aware of yourself and you say, okay, yes, there is a big deal of toxic shame. Let's talk like from the exterior. So, yes, I'm working with it. And let's say you do some processes, I don't know, you go and do some things that are easy for you in this moment to do. You find some processes. It doesn't matter if it's psychotherapy or you do different things, I don't know, to heal. And at some point you have that feeling, I've solved it, because anyway, we are looking for, in general, if we are a high achiever, you want to solve it as quickly as possible and know that it finished and that's it, and then something happens and it comes back even stronger. So in a way, it was just a solution for the moment, let's say, just on the surface. It was not deep worked. So if a woman is watching us now and she feels she still wants to work on this toxic shame and inner critic, what is one thing that you, like the first step that you would recommend to her, that is a simple step and a step in the healthy direction? I mean, not just to solve it on the surface, like, I don't know, I just take a course around tapping for getting shame out of my life. Nothing against tapping. It can bring very beautiful solutions. But I mean, just we as high-achieving women, I know we want to solve quick. So I would like to know from you, what would be your perspective? What a woman who is dealing with that, what is her first step, at least, in this direction?
I always encourage women to take their resources and work with them. And regarding this, they can learn how to evaluate themselves and look at their behavior in a very objective manner. So look maybe at the past week, at the past 2 weeks, and just notice how you handled your emotions, how you handled, for example, toxic shame or inner critic, if you managed these parts of yourself, or if not, in what situations it was hard for you to manage. You can write them down and see if there is a pattern. I mean, let's use the fact that a high-achieving woman is very organized and skilled into noticing things. So she can see if there is a pattern where she triggers into this toxic shame or inner critic. And then if she sees a pattern, maybe the second step would be to realize what past experiences she still lives in these moments. Because we women are very intelligent, and of course they can make, they can see, they can feel in themselves what is the moment I keep reliving in these situations. I feel like I felt when I was 5. I felt like I felt when I was in in high school, in that specific situation. So if she has the trigger, if she has the situation that she keeps reliving, then she's ready for the third step, which would be maybe talking to a specialist and learning how to regulate these patterns. Because this is everything we need, actually, to know what keeps living inside of us. It's like the past is still living inside of us. Sometimes a perpetrator from the past is still talking inside of us. So if we know these connections, we can work with them very easily.
And help us to regulate in those moments when they appear. Because I think it's not like you solved it and it will never ever appear again. It might appear again even if you say you worked on it long time, right?
I would say that if you work with them in a professional manner, they will not appear again.
They will not appear again.
No.
This is a big distinction that is so important.
Yes.
Because otherwise, we can say, okay, it appears less. I can handle it. I can handle it because this is the way we used to deal with life in general. So if we can handle it better, then we are happier. It still appears, but I handle it better. It appears less. So what you are saying, this is a huge distinction. When you really dealt with it, like in a healing process, it will not come back again. The monster doesn't come back.
No, it doesn't, because the nervous system is no longer activated, and there is a method where we actually can evaluate the triggers. We see the triggers, and after working, we check the triggers, and they are gone.
They are done. They are gone. They are not anymore activating us. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. I think every woman, in a way, through not necessarily shame, but every other thing that we had in our life, it's so beautiful when you see out of a sudden something that used to trigger you so much, out of a sudden now is like raining outside. It's rain. It's not sun, it's rain, but it's okay. That's it. Yeah. Good. Great. So then one question for you before we are reaching close to the finish of our podcast. But one question: how a woman can realize when she is moving from shame-based motivation to a safe leadership? As, leadership that is founded in safety, not in shame.
First of all, she will take her feedback from herself.
Yeah.
And she will not be so much involved with the outside talking and gossip and opinions. She will take her own opinions for a start. Secondly, I would say that she will probably take clearer decisions, because when we feel ashamed, we don't feel very safe with our own decisions. We always have to check the outside. So she will take clearer decisions based on what she believes in, based on her experience. And she will be more creative, definitely, because less hyperactivated nervous system means more creativity and more freedom in movement, in thinking. So she will take better and smarter risks in her business. She will not be afraid to take risks or show herself more. So yeah, I would say this would be the most important aspects that would change. And of course, in her body, she will feel different because of feeling more free and creative and maybe bubbly. And this shows on her face and in her posture.
And her whole system probably is affected by this. But now something else comes to me, Livia. I want to ask you something. Can you use shame as a motivation to grow in business?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. I wouldn't also. But I think I've used it for sure in my past. I'm sure I've used it. And now I realize even the money that you make you can get motivation to make more money through shame. So I'm sure that there are women who use this shame to make more money because and even when they make a lot of money, they feel ashamed that they didn't do even more and then go and do more because the shame is always there. Like even if you, at some point of your life when you did 10K months would be a dream, and now you are doing 10K and you are ashamed that you are doing 10K and you want to do 20K, and then you do 20K and you feel ashamed that you are not yet on 30K because you look, your friend is already on 30K, so you feel ashamed that you are not keeping the pace with the exterior, as you said. So you use this shame as a big motivator, like to push you forward. How you know that you do it in an unhealthy way? What is the way you can look at yourself and realize? Because I'm sure even people, so many people build big success because of their trauma, in fact. And for example, they are famous and they are on stages because they want to get the attention from others. So this becomes like this unhealthy way of operating with the present moment becomes a motivation. And you can go bigger and bigger and bigger to in your life because of that. How you know you do it in a healthy way and not using this, let's say, shame motivation now, because we are talking today about shame. It can be on in so many other ways.
Yeah.
But let's talk about shame. How I know if I'm using shame to move forward.
So if I'm shaming myself into having results, this means for me that I keep comparing myself to other people, as you said it, and comparison is another self-defense mechanism. Yes, self-defensive mechanism, because what it does actually is switching our focus to others. We don't focus on what we want, how we need it. But this comparison makes us look at others and want exactly as you said it, their results. So we shame ourselves, and here comes the second defense mechanisms, and we keep staying in this dynamic, unhealthy dynamic. And what happens in a psychological level is that we get disconnected by our results. We don't realize our results because we look at other people. And it is exactly what you mentioned, having a great results, but not realizing what they actually mean, and only running towards other people.
Yeah, of course, because at every point of your life, you can find so many people who are better than you. So you can keep feeling ashamed and keep feeling the shame that you are not good enough all your way. Like you can become a star, you can become a millionaire, and then you can go be a billionaire, and you can still feel this huge shame inside of yourself. But if we think about it, entrepreneurs or high-achieving women are intelligent, as you said. You don't realize that it's shame, or why you don't stop it?
It's sometimes it feels like this is the only option. Sometimes
because it's like a survival mechanism, or why does it feel like the only option? You just keep moving, even if you see like maybe you get an illness, maybe you are very tired, and you keep going. It's like you cannot stop.
Yes, in trauma, there is a difference between the reaction to trauma and stress. When we are stressed, when we try different ways to cope, to manage, we at one point manage to get outside of the stressful situation. In trauma, when we try to manage the situation, we get even more stuck. And this is because in trauma, the survival mechanisms are there to protect us and don't leave us other options available. It's like, I've learned that this way I will get what I need. I will not be in danger, I will be seen, I will be validated. So this is the way I will keep using for the rest of my life. And I will feel like I have no other option. And people are finding it very hard to stop from this kind of dynamics. They realize that it is unhealthy. And I've worked with a lot of people that who realize that it is very unhealthy, but I cannot stop it. I get home at 9 o'clock and
I still laptop.
Yes, I still work because
or wake up at 4 a.m. and work.
Yes, and work because I don't know how to do it differently. I realize that my life is a mess, but I cannot stop it. So this stuckness, it talks actually about a trauma response. It's the mechanism, they keep us in a cage. Yeah. So we have to not only learn, like these women know that there are options, but it's very hard to step aside this
the way you
dynamic.
The way you always done, and go into another dynamic.
Yeah, because
it would be a healthy one.
The first feeling they have is that it's very risky to get out of these strategies. And yes, I agree, it's very risky because again, in an internal level, these survival mechanisms are keeping the psyche in a safe position. It keeps a balance. So we need to address this not only through new behaviors, and discipline, but work on the internal level with that fear that keeps us in this survival state.
And the other way that I can see in high achieving women is that sometimes they build a lot, and because they get into an illness or some very bad situation that has to stop them, then the only option that they have, because let's say money is there and money can support them, then they go into total retreat. Like they cannot find a healthy mid solution, let's say, not one or another. So it's either hyper alert, doing the way she knew to do, or complete retreat. I'm getting spiritual, I'm doing only spiritual stuff, I have money, I never want to go back to where I've been.
Yeah. Yes.
So you cannot find the midway, let's say.
Yeah, the midway is working with what's inside of you. It's not an easy option to go on the extreme and retreat. No. It's not. But that means I stop. So I know only on and off.
On and off, yeah.
And on and off is very easy. The middle part, this is a process to learn.
Yeah.
And this is why we get, but when we are off, or we think we are off, the cortisol is still there, the hyperactivation is still there, so we find things to do. So it's never off, really, but off with some activities maybe.
And we move the activities in the other directions, like we do things, we travel all around the world, we read 20 books in a month, and we consider this is like, I love to read books. But in fact, it's another way to compensate for this way you are used to always do things and many things. Yeah, in a way or another. Or I don't know, I go to sports, then I go to yoga, then I go to whatever. So I put so many things on me so that I feel the same sensation inside that I'm doing things. Great. So if we are to finish this podcast, Livia, and I'm talking a lot about expansion. So if we are coming to this word expansion, and for a woman who is a high achiever in her life, I mean in the business world or whatever she's doing in whatever industry, how you see the possibility for a woman who wants to expand in her business also, but in the same time not lose her peace of mind. I have someone in my life that is in the yoga world more, and he always says peace of mind is real happiness. So, and health is wealth. When you hear this, health is wealth, peace of mind is happiness, then what I would think when I first heard it is then no more focus so much on the money side, on the business, because health is wealth. So you wanted wealth, health is wealth. Just focus on the health. Just focus on the peace of mind, like enjoy your life and with the basic things. How we bring all this together, like health, peace of mind, and also ambition, or being performant in a field where you are working, because your work is a real contribution and you want to do it.
Yeah. Well, first I would say that not everything a high achieving woman is doing in her life, and everything she moves to achieve these wonderful results, she actually moves herself, and these are her resources. The trauma responses are basically working with her resources. So I want to I want us to acknowledge that even if she speaks in a critical way, or she shames herself, or she pushes harder, too hard maybe, she gets the results she gets because of her, not because of her trauma. So she is working with herself in an unhealthy way sometimes, and getting these results. Just imagine what would happen if she would take care of herself and be regulated and have her, as I was saying, prefrontal cortex online, and she would take calmer decisions, clearer decisions, faster decisions that would take care of herself and her family, not to think about other people's opinions so much, stay focused even in stressful situations, take care of her body, stay healthy as possible, of course, not too much pressure on herself. Just how would her life look if she would deal with everything in this state? So I'm very, coherent to your perspective about expansion. We cannot expand when our nervous system is shrinked and only looking at survival and performance and ignoring our health. So we cannot expand because our system, our internal system, is focused on staying away from danger, and we cannot grow. We cannot take risks. We cannot enjoy new experiences. So this is
in a way what you are saying is that even more you can have even more life force because your system is not so activated and always like consuming your resources, in fact. And you get back more life force, so you can achieve even more. In fact, it's such a thing, in the mind of the high achieving woman. I know this mind pretty well because I've always been that also, and it's always like if I stop, everything will stop. If I don't do it the way I know to do it, it will not work. My success is based on this or on what I know to do. So if I don't do it the way I know, I will not have so much success. But in fact, as you said, when you learn new ways of doing it, and you can learn it because you are an intelligent woman and so on, and you've proved it, you will not lose your capacity to have success. You will not lose all your, as you said, because you didn't do it because of your traumas and that's it. You did it because of your ways of, like, your positive qualities. These don't disappear when you change the way of action. This stay there and you get even more life force. So this is like amazing, and I would really love for the women who are listening to us to really get at least this perspective. Wow, it's possible, you know, because sometimes this is the only thing that you need. Wow, it's possible to build in a healthy way. So it's possible to achieve results and beautiful results and same time be present with my family. So it's possible to make a lot of money and same time enjoy that I have that money, not live like when I was 20 and I had nothing to put on the table, because some people who have a lot of money don't enjoy even the basics stuff because they are always focused on doing more. So I think this is like a beautiful perspective, and I cannot wait for future discussions together, future conversations, because we talked today about shame and your and the inner critic, because I know this is in fact your passion also, like you are helping women to get beyond this toxic shame and also work with their inner critic so that they can free themselves and expand in their lives. So I want to thank you for being with me today and for accepting the invitation to this podcast. And in the future, I wait you for other conversations, of course.
Thank you so much, Adina. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, for me also. And for everyone who is listening to us, I cannot wait for the future episodes of this podcast. For me, it's like a possibility to offer the women who are watching us different perspective and different ways of helping themselves, because I never believed that one way is the only way, you know? So you have to look at yourself from different angles. Yes, you work on your brand. Yes, you look at your psychic, you look at your shame, you look at your inner critic. Then we talk about marketing. Then we talk, but all of this together can help us move forward. And I want to see more and more grounded and regulated leaders and women in the world. This is like a thing that would make me so much happier than I am today. Thank you so much, and see you next time.